so that they're putting up their stands, they're putting up their announcements, and if they put up their announcements online, what does it do for them? It allows them to set the tone, right? And they're not hostage to the 10-second soundbite on the network news. Now, how many people actually see it? Very small number. But the reporters are going to watch it before the story is done, so they set the tone of that conversation. If you want to go and see what the candidate has to say, you can now go there and see the full 2.5 minutes and not the 10-second soundbite. So it's a chance for them to do that. It's a chance for us to see them more. It's also a chance for us to see them screw up. And that's been an issue already. Mitt Romney, who's a conservative out of Massachusetts and a Mormon, in '94 debated Ted Kennedy for Senate, hopelessly. But in that fight with liberal Kennedy, he espoused liberal views. He was liberal views on gay rights and abortion and a few other things. So conservatives who are against Romney, who say he's not conservative enough, took that video, put it up on the internet, and said, this is what he said in '94 about abortion, about gay rights. Just, that's all he did. So Romney had to come back and respond to that. Romney, who was now much slicked down, and he recants all these views. And the way he did it was to go to Instapundit, a big blog, and do a podcast with them. And then he had his own people record him on the phone to Instapundit. Say, oh, well, I'll change my mind. And he put that up on YouTube. So it was YouTube versus YouTube. John McCain just started his video stuff, but the first presence for McCain's name in YouTube in a major way was a guy named Bob Greenwald, a filmmaker who made the anti-Walmart movie, so you guys know him. And so he did a site called The Real McCain. And all he did was find McCain's statements on this, and then that, this, and then that. And he showed flip-flop, 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 flip-flop. And in one show, he changed on gay marriage. He said at the beginning of one debate, I'm in favor of ceremonies, and the next he said, no, I'm against it. And so he just said 14 minutes later, and so it was a very powerful means to just show graphically what the guy said. If you go to YouTube and you type in McCain, the first thing to come up is that, not McCain's own stuff. So McCain made his stuff. He made it very produced, very Hollywood, very, very commercial. Hillary is just sitting there and talking to the camera in a room that looks suspiciously like the Oval Office. Obama, and I was just I was cutting a piece before I came over here that I haven't finished yet. Obama is doing the rock star in front of the crowd, everybody cheering for him. He's not saying anything about issues. He's trying as hard to go as long as he can without saying anything on issues except for Iraq. So anyway, so we're seeing this fascinating thing here where the candidates are starting to use this to market and where that's going. So I think it's a great new laboratory to watch how it works.
Very good. We get one more question maybe before we...
I just wondered, you've touched on it a few times in your presentation. Where do you think Google's going at the minute?
In which of its many ways?
Well, for me, it's like last year, it seemed to be that Google, whereas they used to innovate themselves, would buy up other companies, which Yahoo's doing as well. I don't know if you've seen Cringely's columns recently, but he seemed to be saying that Google seemed to be leaving itself into a position where it was actually going to buy up the cable companies and basically own the network as well as a lot of the delivery.
There's been a lot of arguments saying that they're going to provide the internet too, and they keep on saying that they're not. I have no idea. I think what Google is brilliant at doing, the contrast I like to make is that I say that Yahoo is the last old media company. Because it operates, it'll make it because it doesn't have unions and presses and trucks and towers. But it operates under the old media model of we control either own or licensed content, we market to get people to come to us, and then we give them ads. Google says, to hell with that, we'll go wherever they are. We'll enable anybody to do anything. And that's the way to go in the future. So I yell at newspapers and say you should be thinking the same way. So when Google bought YouTube, it was not to serve video, I don't believe. It was to create a new ad network for video and enable that. And if they do that, I'm happy because it'll make my little videos money. And so I'm delighted to have them do that. It won't make them enough because they'll go to the low end of the value and there's an opportunity to go to a higher end of the value. It's always the opportunity against Google, I think, is higher value. But I think that they're just going to see themselves always as an enabler. And if they don't have the means to do that, they'll go buy it. And they'll compete with Yahoo or somebody else to do that, with Delicious or Flickr or whatever. But they will enable, I think.
Yeah, back to video. Mobile TV, do you think it's going to work? big barrier to the main barriers as well.
You guys tell me, because you have better phone service over here than we have. Sadly, and it's still the case. Dave Weiner, who's a blogger who was zealot-like at the beginning of everything on the internet, blogs and RSS. He was one of the inventors of RSS, and he created podcasts. He made RSS work for podcasts. So Dave wrote a post the other day about his ideal device, kind of a response to iPhone. And what he really wants is the ability for it to sync without having to wire up or Bluetooth up to his Macintosh. I think that's the key to where this goes. Right? We'll get anything we want, anytime, anywhere on our little device. And as I said, I watched reads on my little tiny iPod screen, and it was fine. Bigger would have been fine too, but it was okay. So I think there's an opportunity for that. I think the opportunity is also for asynchronous downloading of whatever we want via the cell network. And then finally, I think we haven't seen that 7-7 moment that's going to happen with mobile TV. Right? The 7-7 moment input was snap, send in. The output moment is going to be, oh my God, what's coming in next? And on that Sprint phone I have the live TV opportunity, and I haven't really used it yet. But I know when that big news story happens, I'm going to pull that out and I'm going to watch that, and we're going to see people walking down the street, not just talking, but now watching, listening, and bumping into things. There was a state representative in New York who recently tried, for publicity only, to propose a bill banning talking on cell phones and watching iPods, listening to iPods and watching iPods when walking, because it's becoming so dangerous to people.
I suppose the issue with mobile TV then is with all these high-speed networks coming along, whether anybody will be prepared to build a mobile TV network, or whether you're just going to sideload it from the internet or wherever, YouTube.
I think you will.
I mean, you could already watch moving images on a mobile phone right now.
Right, I think it's
all
all
phones are enabled.
Exactly, it's all
there is no network. That's the issue.
I don't like the cable business. Not just because of customer, but as a
Who's
business.
going to roll out a pan-European or global mobile TV network? I don't see it.
I don't see it happening because I think you've got to look at it's all bandwidth. People will use it as they wish to use it. And the better the bandwidth, the better the use.
So high-speed network, download from the internet,
Absolutely.
wherever. I mean, anything that's happened is going to be on the internet within 30 seconds anyway. So.
Yeah, I think so. And don't forget, it's not going to be broadcast TV. It's going to be
internet TV.
I'm watching the Hughes show. Hughes broadcasting as he's walking. So we'll just watch. We'll broadcast one walk. Last part of this is there's a company called you've heard Juiced, obviously from the Skype guys, who are going to do big scale top down. There's also a company called Ray V I ran into at Video on the Net, which promises live TV over the internet. They're bringing them over to a meeting, in fact, this week. And that's important to me. I don't want to. The internet is asynchronous, and that's what's wonderful about it. I can get what I want when I want it. So I don't want to make it all live. But if it is live, if we add live to it, then that becomes interactive. So 18 Dowdy Street here in the UK, by having a talk show live on, it becomes interactive. I can interact with it while it's going on. So I think we'll find more peer-to-peer ways to deliver live television, which will also be interactive television at a small scale and a large scale both. And I think that's going to change another quantum leap because it's new kinds of programming we don't see today.
What's the name of the company?
Ray-V, R-A-Y-V, a new Israeli startup. In full disclosure, they asked me to be on the advisory board. So.
Thank you very much. I think we could have gone for ages with Jarvis.